Hello everyone, welcome to PM Models, and here's a quick video on how to build a wet pallet. Okay, so the basic ingredients for making this wet pallet are a resealable airtight box, or plastic sandwich box or anything like that where you can clip it back together, some sponge cloths which are cheap and readily available from supermarkets, obviously good old H2O, water, and some parchment paper. Now this stuff is readily available from art supply stores, Amazon or eBay, places like that. You can also buy, like obviously AK here do their own wet pallet version. There's the everlasting wet pallet, and there's quite a few commercially available ones, but I said they're cheap enough to make without obviously going to that expense. The other way as well that you can use for the parchment paper is some baking paper, some greaseproof baking paper. It doesn't work quite as well as the proper artist one, but it does the job if needs be, and that's all you've got. So first job is to take a bit of sponge, any colour will do, and then just sort of measure it to what you want to fit in the bottom of your resealable box. So we'll just take that, pair of scissors, just roughly cut it to shape. Okay, once that's done, place that in the bottom there. It's a little bit long, so we'll just cut a bit off the end. It doesn't really have to be precise, you just want it so it rests in the bottom. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. So once that's in there, then take your water, dampen the sponge down. You don't want it swimming, but you do want it wet. Okay, just press that down, just make sure that's fully wet. Then take a piece of your parchment paper, okay, soak that in on the top so that soaks in, and basically that is it. That is as simple as it gets. Okay, you might get this little beading up on the top, don't worry about it, it's not going to affect your paint anything at all really. In fact, you can use it to your advantage and use it for thinning your paint once you've put it on the pallet. Okay, so once you've got that all set up and ready, I'll grab a couple of paints. We'll just use a couple of brands of paint. So we'll go for the Attacker, Blue Line, and some Vallejo, just to show you the ratios of what I use to thin it anyway. So alright, give it a good shake. Let's grab a paintbrush. Okay, just give that a good shake, and then just dab a bit out on your palette. Okay, and then if you grab a bit of the water there to thin it, I mean this is quite thin stuff anyway, but the rule of thumb is, from what I have seen, is for thinning, when you put it on your pallet, you want it to kind of draw back in on itself and not spread out. Okay, like that. That's perfect there. Look, you can see it as it draws back. That's a really nice consistency. Obviously you can add whatever colours you want in a line and mix and match as you please, and obviously as well you can make a wet pallet, especially if you're using the grease as big as you want, as big as a resealable box as you can find. So, but again, that's really nice consistency on that. Again, if you want to just add a bit more water off one of these little beads, there you go. And that is the basics to it. Your paint should last a good few days in there once you reseal it, once you finish, so you're not into the situation of a dry pallet where as soon as you've finished it's going to go off and that's the end of it. So that's a really good advantage for the acrylic paint, especially your figure painters use these all the time. So again, I hope that helps. I hope that's a bit of an insight in how to make a wet pallet, and I'll see you in the next video.